This is the Ethereum 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2024. It's currently November 25th, 2023, 7:41 p.m. Eastern Time. Ethereum at the time of this reading is currently $2,080.91. That's USD. And the shuffle video that we're about to play for you was created on October 25th, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video right here in the corner. So the overall theme and behavior for the month is a period of volatility and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of volatility. It's crossed with a U-shaped dip that forms between two peaks, and it's usually near the intersection of two perpendicular diagonal trend lines. The behavior around the highest high, we have a resistance level that's highlighted around the highest high that we've met many times before and failed to break through. Behavior around the lowest low, we have an unexpected move higher out of the low. It'll really stand out on a 1 month chart, the move out of the low or lows. But overall, it's looking like a pretty mixed month, bearish overall, but pretty mixed. Not necessarily bearish overall, actually, but pretty mixed month. And before we get into the day-by-day chart behavior, as well as where the prominent highs and lows are, and trade opportunities and all that, I want to make sure that everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And we do that here on the resources tab of our website, tarotfortraders.com, where 5% of the profits from every profitable trade should be donated forward to a charity through one of these links here. Just click here and donate and help advance the research of parapsychology or help cure Alzheimer's, you know, like do something good with some of the money. And then 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel to say thank you and support the channel. It leaves you with 90% of the money left over and abundance mentality. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you do that, the universe considers you an angel investor. The channel is going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel. Neglect to follow through on that rule of karma, my friends, which is following those rules. And the universe is going to neglect to follow through on the abundance flow through this channel. So don't be that guy. And with that said, let's get back into it. All right, so on the first, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line. We break through horizontal resistance, meet a second resistance before pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. There's really one local high on a one-day chart there. So what I mean by local high is on a one-day chart, you'll see one crest or peak. So there's some sort of decline there between the first and the second because we have a lowest low here around the morning of the second and a notable move higher out of that lowest low. That'll be our lowest low thus far, I should say, and a notable move out of it on the second. Sometimes this is like a gap up, the adjustment card. And on the third, misdirection of some kind. Misdirection on the third. Usually it's some sort of like scary decline or something like that. We do have a trough around the cusp of the third, fourth, and then there's a peak on the fourth that we sell off from through multiple supports into a sideways rotation around the cusp of the fourth, fifth, establishing support, and then a big move higher taking us to a high there, a prominent high. Troughs at the end of the day on the fifth, so it doesn't look like it holds. Another notable move higher on the sixth through a key resistance level on a 1 month scale. We break through that resistance, we stay above it briefly, and then we break back down through the same price level with a full retracement and some, taking us into another prominent lower trough there towards the end of the day on the sixth. There's a trade opportunity around the fourth and another trade opportunity around the sixth, and we'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. So out of the trough, there's sideways rotation establishing support into the seventh, and then a fast sudden move higher, ending that period of sideways rotation. There might even be like a gap up towards the end of the day. We meet like an important price level towards the early afternoon, and then there's like a gap up into the end of the day into another prominent peak. And then we have price swings on the 8th. On the 9th, we have a important trade opportunity. There's volatility there. I don't know about necessarily a notable move higher. It's actually looking more like a decline on the 9th. There is a prominent peak around the 9th as well, though, and then a prominent trough on the 10th. So we probably decline into the 10th, and then there's a fast sudden move higher on the 10th. We have like a key resistance at the end of the day, and then we like jump up higher to another prominent peak after meeting that resistance there. Bound by a range on the 11th. That's a range on a 1 month scale minimum, and there's a trade opportunity there on the 10th and on the 11th. Oh, there's also one on the 7th. We'll talk about all those in more detail in the paid version. Let's take a look and see how we're doing for November thus far. We ended up having a lowest low on the 3rd, ironically enough. So we were off by a couple days on the lowest lows on a lot of the Novembers that ended up being this, the first of the month, and we had it for the 3rd, but here we just like we neglected to even register it. So for whatever reason, there's a trough there, it's obvious. Then we have a highest high. I have it for the 6th, 7th, and you could say there's a highest high thus far for the 6th and the 7th. Opportunity there in the midst of a rally on the 7th to open up a short position or close a long position, right? And you can see how that worked out pretty well, taking us into a trough, which I have for the 9th, ends up being kind of like right there around the 8th, 9th, actually, based on if you take out the intraday spikes. And then on the 9th, there's a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time. Look at that big green candlestick, and then some selling from a peak the next day. We have a lowest low for the 15th. Looks like we were off roughly by a day. And then we have the lowest low again on the 19th, and it looks like we missed that by another, well, actually the 19th came here, so it is another lowest low. And then it looks like what we missed was there's indications here of the 21st, 22nd having another lowest low, and it looks like I missed that. But this is a pretty solid reading, aside from a couple things that I missed. So we should see some rallying here, and then it looks like we go into another lowest low on the 27th, 28th. But overall pretty accurate, especially if you're following the trades, you would have made quite a bit of money. So if you're interested in getting the paid version, in the paid version what you get is all of the best trades that we see for the month, as well as what to look for as far as chart behavior for entry and exit points. We talk about price levels. We identify where the highest highs and the lowest lows are. Look at it from a multi-month standpoint, a multi-year standpoint if it's relevant as well. And then we also compare its performance relative to Bitcoin over the same period of time. All in the paid version. It's a great way to support the channel. You get that here hovering over our services on our website, Tarot for Traders, clicking on SO Meta posts and scrolling down to monthly subscription. Click here to order. You're subscribing to the Ethereum reading in this case, but if you're interested in any of these other crypto or ticker symbols, we do a subscription on a monthly basis for every one of these. If you want the paid version of any or all of them, I highly recommend getting the 30 days access to all paid. It gives you the paid version of all of those, as well as Amazon, Google, and NVIDIA, which you can only get through this all paid version subscription. Really, we know the names of everybody that does this. These are the people that are like the core foundation foundation of financial support for the channel. So really a big part of what goes on here. And then also we're now doing custom monthlies again, guys. If you're interested in a custom monthly, click here, same page under our services SO Meta posts. Although this is supposed to be 500, so I'll have that changed. So prominent peak on a 1 month scale there at the end of the day, or on the cusp of the 10th, 11th. And then we get into a sideways S formation on the 12th after a trade opportunity there at the end of the day on the 11th. Sideways S formation. Usually it's overall decline, but not always. But what it is a decline from a resistance down to a support. You do a reversal, go all the way back to the original resistance, do a reversal again and go all the way back to that support, creating like a sideways S within a channel. Peak at the end of the day, somebody's speaking around the cusp of the 12th, 13th that impacts Ethereum, and it looks like it's pretty positive because we have a fast sudden move higher on the 13th, taking us to another prominent peak towards the end of the day on the 13th. On the 14th, we decline to and through support to meet a second support, and then we rotate sideways along that support on a multi-day scale. There's also a trade opportunity there. On the 15th, an important resistance level highlighted. Usually we see with the Truce card, we kind of like see like a lull in volume a lot of the time. On the 16th, there's a rally into key resistance, and then we decline with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. It looks like that decline continues and increases with the momentum into the 17th. A trade opportunity on the 17th, I'll talk about in more detail on the paid version. Also, a probable location of another prominent trough somewhere around the 16th, 17th, 18th. It's really within close time proximity to a prominent peak or crest again, which there's probably a lot of ground cover to the upside on the 18th from a trough early in the day around the 17th. Move higher to a peak or crest on the 19th, and then from that peak or crest, a prominent peak or crest, we sell off pretty notably through multiple supports, declining into the 20th. On the 20th, we have a big move out of that decline from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of a range, and then on the 21st, we're declining again. That offers an opportunity, and it looks like towards the end of the day on the 21st, we may even be back at a peak. It's either the end of the day on the 21st or on the 22nd, and we have a failed attempt to break the key resistance there, followed by a decline through key support. There's very likely a prominent trough here around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. It might be 2 prominent troughs or 3 even, but there's at least one somewhere around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. On the 23rd, we have a notable decline, especially middle part of the day on the 23rd, and we revisit a support level that we recently met once before, probably the same support we saw around the 21st, 22nd. Bearish price swings on the 24th, a trade opportunity there as well. I'll talk about in more detail on the paid version. Bearish price swings and probably a sharp drop in there. And then on the 25th, we have a sideways fluctuating rally that precedes another decline on the 26th, and we have a peak at the end of the day on the 25th, and then a notable decline and a lot of ground covered from the 25th into the 26th, where we have a prominent trough at the end of the day on the 26th, another prominent trough in the beginning of the day on the 27th, but at a higher price level than the trough of the 26th, and we attempt to establish support there. I'm advised to be cautious on the 28th, some sort of tricky chart behavior going on there. And then we have the fortune card and the unicursal there on the 29th. So we probably have some sort of like fake out to the upside on the 28th through like a resistance, and then a notable reversal on the 29th into a sharp decline. Either that or we rally into the 29th, and then there's a reversal with a sharp decline continuing into the 30th. On the 30th, we have a notable decline through multiple supports. And then on the 31st, we successfully turn resistance on a multi-day scale into new support. So that's overall kind of bullish on the 31st. The sneak preview for February is an important trough on a multi-day scale. And it looks like we're coming up on possible lowest low for the year, but we'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. That's Ethereum for January 2024, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Most importantly, make sure to follow that rule of karma. Don't be that guy that gets shut off from the flow of abundance for not following through. It's really the right thing to do, and it's the universal requirement. So make sure to do that. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version.